Welcome to There Is a Method to the Madness. My name is Rob Maxwell. I'm an exercise physiologist and personal trainer. I'm the owner of Maxwell's fitness programs, and I've been in business since 1994. We're on our 30th year anniversary. The purpose of this podcast is to get to the real deal of what really works, and most importantly, why things work. Hence, there is a method to the madness. Today, I'm going to talk to you about the truth that is going to make you fit. I'm sure I got you ready and anticipating. Before I get to that, let me thank Jonathan and Lynn Gilden of the Gilden Group at Realty Pros. They are committed to providing the highest level of customer service and home sales. Why don't you give them a shout? Let's figure out what your home is worth. 386-451-2412. All right, so are you ready for the truth? Well, here is the truth. Just because you don't like something, it doesn't make it less true. Now, I could close there and wrap it up, but we really can't do that. I got to explain that a little bit more. I go back and forth, as you probably know, if you listen to the podcast often, which I'm assuming you do, which I shouldn't make assumptions like that. So let's pretend you don't. So what I'm going to say here is that I go back and forth. I'll do like a real heavily physiology-based podcast, meaning talking about the method to the madness of why certain rep ranges are picked, or talk about hypertrophy and hyperplasia and creatine phosphate and adenosine triphosphate and adenosine diphosphate, all that nice physiology stuff. And those were just fresh on the brain because I was talking to one of my remote clients about those three things yesterday, the adenosine triphosphate, diphosphate, and phosphocreatine. Anyway, yeah, all that stuff is like really cool and interesting. And I think when we learn more about what exactly happens in the body, we understand exercise and strength training a lot more. Absolutely has its place. But you know what? So does the philosophy of it. So does the psychology of it. And I've noticed, like, when I check how certain podcasts are doing, and role models of mine that do real big time podcasts, they always say, don't do that. Because sometimes it's just luck which podcasts are doing well. And sometimes there's a reason behind it. But the bottom line is they advise not to do that, because when you do, you start tailoring your message towards it, and then you become less authentic. So I don't want to do that. I don't think that's good. I do believe I really know a lot about health and fitness. And I think more importantly than that, I love it. It's my passion, and I do it myself, and I think it's cool. And I believe it changes your life, and I believe it makes you happier, fit, healthier, longevity, quality of life, all those things. So I 100% believe in it. So I don't think I need to cater to what people want to hear, because the right people will hear the right things at the right times. But I bring this up because sometimes when I get into the psychological stuff, like today's going to be about, it's about attitude and, why we do things versus what we should do. The ratings aren't as high, but it's I never got that. I'm help me out here, listeners, maybe, think about it. It's why is that? Why do so many people want to be told exactly what to do only to not do it? Isn't that funny? We can talk about, the physiology of things all the time, but if somebody's not going to do something, what difference does it make? And I remember one of the opening quotes in a sports psychology textbook I used to teach out of sports psychology class. And the opening quote literally was, to exercise or not exercise is a psychological decision. It's that's very true. So, we can know a lot about exercise. We can know that it builds bone density. We know that it burns calories. We know that it burns fat. We know that it strengthens the heart. We know it improves the pulmonary system. We know it improves circulation. We know it adds hypertrophy, so muscle mass. We know it speeds up the metabolism. We know it improves ADLs and balance. I mean, we know these things, and everybody, for the most part, knows these things. I'll tell the story. I've told this many times, but if you've heard it, then, fast forward. If you haven't, I think it's pretty interesting. I used to take students and, go out into the hallway where I taught when I was teaching in college. And I would never pick somebody who I thought was going to feel awkward, like they were being picked on because of their weight or how their fitness appeared, because I wouldn't do that, number one. And number two, that doesn't mean anything. You can't judge a book by its cover by any means. I would pick people, though, that I thought, well, number one, were they eating or drinking junk food? I mean, that was the first thing I looked for. And then I wanted to make sure they looked like they could take a joke pretty good, So I'd go out and get one of them. I wouldn't tell them what I was doing. I'd say, hey, doing a little, experiment in my sports psychology class. Can you come on in here and, bring in your snack? And they're like, yeah, sure. And we'd come in and I'd park them up in front of the room, and I'd either stand by them or I'd go sit at my desk or whatever. And I'd say, all right, so what's your name? Bill. Okay, so Bill, let me ask you this. Do you know that Coca-Cola you're drinking right now in that bag of Doritos is bad for you? And, I never had one say no. They go, well, yeah. I mean, yeah, I know that. It's not good. It's junk food. And they laugh and giggle. And I go, but you eat and drink it anyway. Yeah. Yep. So, okay, you're done. Bye-bye. See you. Thank you. Bye-bye. And then I would say, no. Hang out for a second if you want to hear. And I would just explain how, people know these things, but they do it anyway. So, why? I don't know. That's the $1 million question, right? I mean, if the how matters enough, then, if the why matters enough, the how's not going to matter nearly as much. So we have to get to the whys, right? So I don't know. It's interesting that psychology is number one with getting people to change their lifestyles or starting a new positive habit, yet it's the thing people don't like to talk about. Who knows? But I open this with saying, just because you don't like it, it doesn't make it less true, right? So that's part of this. That's what this main message is that, the people who really, first off, know what they're talking about are going to tell you the truth. And secondly, the people that are going to tell you the truth care more about telling the truth. So those are huge wins right there. The people who are going to lie to you, either purposefully, or they don't know better, or they're manipulating you, they don't care about what is good for you. They only care about either selling a product, or in their warped belief system, you won't like them anymore if you tell them the truth. But just because you don't like the truth, it doesn't make it less true. And in fitness, I see it all the time. Not everybody likes to be told the truth. Some people do, but some people just will respond with the truth very negatively. They could get defensive, and that doesn't do you any good. Let's say you're coaching somebody, and I oftentimes like to use the term coach over trainer, because a coach is more of a educator. They're experienced, they have the knowledge, but they're trying to help you get somewhere, and they're using many different tactics to do it. Where a trainer, I love animals, so this is no disrespect to them at all. I mean, if you know me, you know I love animals probably more than people, but that's for another day. But when you're training a SEAL, so to say, right, it's flat out stimulus response. That's what we call operant conditioning or operant training. So stimulus response, that's training, meaning You either use positive reinforcement rewards. So if the seal, does something stupid, like I don't believe they should be doing these things, but, jumping up or, grabbing a balloon or grabbing a ball that's thrown up to catch it, right? Well, they catch the ball, they get a fish, right? So that's operant conditioning. That's positive reinforcement. So you're conditioning the seal to react in a certain way. Or if they miss the ball, they don't get the piece of fish. So that's technically, not to get in the weeds here, but that's technically not punishment. So punishment would be directing a physical harm or emotional harm. And God, I hope they don't do that, but sadly they probably do. Again, for another time. That would actually be called negative reinforcement. What they do is they just don't give the positive reinforcement. So that's negative reinforcement. Now, does that work with people? I mean, yeah, but it doesn't last. Like you can do that with kids, right? You can be like, okay, so, and you do have to do some of it. It's just an immature tactic on both parts, right? I mean, the kids are immature, so you have to use it, but it's an immature tactic because it doesn't get to the big picture. But you can say, all right, so if you keep, back talking me, you're not going to have your phone for an hour. It's like, all right. I mean, and does that work? I mean, sure, for a while, right? And they're going to realize, man, mommy or daddy really means it. And I just, back talked again and I lost my phone for an hour or whatever. I mean, in my day, we didn't have phones and all that. I guess it would be sent to my room was a common one or whatever. So that's like negative reinforcement versus punishment. You're taking stimulus away. So does it work? Sure. But only works so far. Eventually you got to get to coaching. You got to get to, hey, this is why I don't want you to do this because I care. This, I'm trying to protect you from this. Like, you can back talk me and I get it. It's not the end of the world, but I'm afraid if you do this to a teacher, you're going to get in trouble or they're going to, not like you. They're not going to respect you as a student and there could be consequence to that. Or you could say it to a stranger on a train that you don't know and they might hit you, whatever. You can explain why we do things. And again, there has to be a maturity level to get there. I get it. But when people come for like working out, when they come to a trainer, I mean, most of the times they're adults. And if they're not, they're teenagers who you can reason with. And if you keep it too simple training them, you're not going to get very far. If you get to coaching them and talking to them and reasoning with them, educating them, hopefully you're going to get what you want and what they want. What they want is to get better, and what you want is for them to get better. So you get a win-win that you can't get if you stick to very basic training, okay? So getting back to just because you don't like it doesn't make it less true. So a good coach, good coaching is going to tell you the truth. I mean, if they don't, they're not a good coach. They're not a good parent. They're not a good teacher. They're just telling you what you want to hear because either they're selling you something or they, in their warped mind, and I say warped because I think everybody I know anyway, including myself, has a level of people pleasing in them. But I think we know, or, hopefully we learn that people pleasing doesn't really gain us respect and it really doesn't help anybody. So like the other day, I'll give you like a little silly example.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Are you ready to unlock your full potential? I want to introduce you to the Fit, Healthy, and Happy podcast, a powerful resource to transform your life today. With expert interviews, practical tips, and inspiring stories, this podcast is your roadmap to lasting wellness. Here's what a listener has to say.
I used to struggle with my health, but this podcast changed everything. It's like having a personal trainer, nutritionist, and life coach totally for free.
With over 2,000 five-star reviews, we're a podcast you can trust. The Fit, Healthy, and Happy podcast, available now wherever you get your podcasts.
I was going to snap a picture of a client at a race real quick. They finished a race, and the first thing they said was, right after they took it, is there a booger? And if you people please them, I mean, I know it's a silly example, but you might go, oh, no, you're good, Because you think for some strange reason, like they're going to be embarrassed. I mean, why would they be embarrassed? We all kind of get those things after runs, and it's like, it's common, but like a people pleaser, just taking this example to the extreme, like, oh, I can't tell them, they'll be embarrassed. You're not doing them any favors. Then you post it because, that's what we do, right? And then they're like, oh my God, why'd you post that? So like you're not doing anybody any good when you think you're just telling people what you think they want to hear. Like they don't want to hear they don't have one. They want to hear they don't have one because they don't have one, right? So, we have to understand that there's a lot of things out there that we have to grasp. And if we want to get better, as they say, the truth hurts. I mean, you might not like the fact that the way we lose weight is calories in versus calories out. I mean, that's all there is to it. It is that simple. And the people that are the most successful with losing weight and keeping weight off formulate a budget, a food budget, a caloric budget, and they stick to it. Plain and simple. Nobody can get away with doing anything they want to do. Can some people get away with more? Yup. Can some people get away with less? Yes. But we all have a caloric budget that if we go over, we're going to gain weight. If we go below it, we're going to lose weight. If we eat at it, we will maintain our weight. It is that simple. Like, oh, Rob, but what about the fat loss drugs? They're making you eat less because they're suppressing your appetite. I mean, so what? I mean, that's what they're doing. So people are eating less food. That's what they're doing. All of it is going to come back to that. Not everybody likes that truth. Some people are like, well, it can't be true. So-and-so eats whatever they want. Maybe I just need to exercise more. Yeah, maybe you do, but most likely you need to eat less. But not everybody likes the truth because they don't want to do it, but it doesn't make it less true. And the whole point of this psychological advice I'm giving you is accept the truth of whatever it is. Like whatever your sticking point is, whether it be you're having trouble maintaining your weight because you just don't like what the truth is, accept it and then figure out what you're going to do to make it somewhat better, right? I mean, some people would rather believe that carbs are the enemy. It's like, oh, that's not true. It's not all about calories. I can eat as much protein as I want and, fat. I just can't eat carbs. And that's not true. It all comes back to calories. The reason why people overeat carbs is because carbs are easiest to overeat. We had a funny laugh, in the training sessions at 7 a.m. this morning. There's a few people that work out. Everybody's in, good body composition shape in that group. So we all kind of joke around a little bit. And we're talking about, oh man, I could eat soft pretzels till the cows come home. Oh, I could eat, pizza till the cows come home. And that was me, by the way. Another person, it was soft pretzels. Another person, it was cupcakes. So it's like, okay, nobody said, oh man, I can eat steak till the cows come home. Oh man, I could eat loaded cheese till the cows. No, man, carbs are easy to eat. So we overeat them. They're not evil. They're just easy to eat. If we overeat anything, we're going to gain weight. So we have to accept certain laws and certain truths. Some people are like, man, I hate hurting at the gym. Meaning, believe me, I don't believe in pushing people to injury, right? When I say hurt, I mean, of course, no pain, no gain isn't really true. No, I don't mean that. But to grow muscles, the muscles are going to burn. If you're doing squats hard, your heart rate is going to be in your throat. Things are going to feel heavy. In other words, some parts of it are going to suck, right? There's this guy that always says, embrace the suck. I mean, there's truth to it. You're not going to get better without levels of discomfort. If you want to run faster and you don't run faster, hello, you want it to come easy? I mean, that's super entitled, right? I mean, that just is. Well, so-and-so runs all the time. It's like, okay, whatever. Like, what's holding you back? Well, I don't want to run harder. Then don't. But don't then wonder why you're not getting faster if that's important to you. And by the way, I'm just pulling different examples out of my butt that come up. Like, please, when you listen to this, if you really think it's about you, remember the earth does not revolve around you. Okay. There's many, 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 many people I talk to on a daily basis, hundreds. So these are just examples that come up often with many, many people. So whatever the situation is, there are truths to it. And I have found in my own experience, and I've done okay. I've done okay in the business world. I've done okay in the fitness world, done okay in the professional world. Like, I've done okay, for a lot of reasons, got a lot of help through the years. I never believe in self-made men, so to say. I think that takes a village, so I'm by no means bragging, but I do know a little bit about getting, successful. And I've always had to accept the truth of whatever it is. I don't like it. All right. It doesn't matter if I don't like it. I don't get defensive when people are trying to help me. Why would I? That means I don't trust them. Like, why would I go? Like, why would they say, well, I don't think you're doing this. Oh, yes, I am. I mean, what is that all about? Like, if somebody's getting defensive, if you're getting defensive with somebody trying to help you, you've picked the wrong teacher and the wrong coach, right? I mean, you've got a problem, and it's probably not them. Because why are you getting defensive when people are just trying to help you, right? Again, younger people, students, this isn't for them. Kids are going to get defensive. They get embarrassed. They get whatever. But like, as adults, sometimes the truth hurts, man. You can talk to your coach or whatever about like your struggles with weight gain, and they look at you and go, bro, you're eating too much. What? No, I'm not. You are. Well, how can you say that so definitively? Because you're gaining weight. I'm sorry, but there isn't another way. Unless there's this medical condition where you're retaining all this water. Sure, but that's not what people are talking about. So, we get better by accepting the truth. The most success I've had when it comes to stuff like that is to have a relationship where it's just can be real honest. And I'll say to a person who I am helping try to lose weight, and I'll say to them, you're overeating, man. I know you think you're not, but well, yeah, you're right, man. I am. And I don't know how to break this habit. Okay. There you go. That's the kind of dialogue that's going to help somebody, because it's not a judgment call. People can gain weight, lose weight. That's not the end all be all. It's not a judgment call. I doubt any good health coach is going to look at somebody and go, oh yeah, well, that's disgusting that you can't reel this in. I don't know anybody that would do that. So it just makes no sense not to accept the truth, except for the fact that it hurts and you're trying to protect something, but you're not trying to get better. Because the only way we get better at anything is accept the truth on things. The truth of the matter is that, if I'm making my third book, which I am, and I want it to say, do well, I have to do a lot of work. And I have to ask myself, am I willing to do that kind of work? Not so much in writing it, but promoting it and then paying for that kind of thing. Because in today's book world, it's all about, who and how they're going to promote it. Do I want to do that work or not? I don't know. There's no other truth to it, though. It's not like, oh, so-and-so, I'm just not lucky. They got lucky and my book's not doing it. No, it's as simple as the fact that, am I willing to do the work to make it do better than I want it to, or better than the last one, or am I not? I don't know. At this point, answering that question, I don't know. I'm writing it. I'm going to do it. A lot of times I write the books for my clients, for myself. If I want it to do really good, I'm going to have to put in a lot of work. I'm going to have to schedule a lot of book signings. I'm going to have to go around and talk to all these local shops and Ask them if they'll put the books out, do a promotion. I'm going to have to call up all my friends in the different Rotary groups and go speak. Do I want to do all that? I don't know. I don't know. Don't know if I want to do it. Don't know if it's worth the effort to me, see? But I can accept that. And I think anytime we can accept the truth, even when we don't like it, we're on the verge of getting better. And there is no better garage door company in the state of Florida than Overhead Door of Daytona Beach, owned by Jeff and Zach Hawk, who are the best of individuals that I know. Great people, great company, great doors, great service. Give them a shout at Overhead Door